Sarah?
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, your turn.
Hi everyone and welcome. So it's me between lunch, right? Yeah. So everybody got a seat. I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about myself and my Joomla experience. I've been doing Joomla since a number of times, and I have been the president of the user group in Sweden for the association for a lot of years, and I run a lot of Joomla nights and Joomla days. And also now I'm on the OSM board. So that's my experience with Joomla in the community. And as a professional, I work with a web agency that I created called PixPro. And I'm also an evangelist for the newsletter Medium. So that's my background. For this session, I have one goal. I think that forums is great for sharing experiences, and I think these kind of meetings are equally the same. And I want us to share and contribute during the session, talking about what kind of issues we have with the email system that is available today and the newsletter systems that you can find on the JET. And what are you missing? What kind of things are you just, this is rocking. Just share so everybody can get that information. So that's my goal. In the Joomla world, we have a lot of things. If you go to JET, you have almost more than 3, I think, categories on the JET talking about newsletter and emails and distribution lists. And this is some of them. And I'm just gonna ask what you're using today. Change?
JNodes.
JNodes, okay.
ACY.
ACY.
ACMail.
ACMail, yeah.
MailChimp Integration.
Okay. Is it working for you? Yeah. Good. It's kind of a hassle to find something. Something when I realize when I look into our client sites is that they have maybe 3 or 4 versions installed. It seems like people downloading things, testing them out, and this is not working exactly what I wanted. So instead of just uninstall that one, they install another one. And they try that out for a while, and you can see the statistics, and they try it out for a while, and they jump on a new thing. So it seems there's something lacking, if it's the user experience of using it, or if it's rendering of the emails coming to your clients' inboxes, or if it's a feature that you're looking for statistics, or if it's a feature that you're looking for maybe getting people on the list, like importing them. And if you read on the JET, that's a lot of questions when it comes to the reviews. This is working for me so far, but it's not working any longer because I have now a new scope. I would like to have something else happening. And some people say that, oh, finally I found something that fits my needs. So I think there's a lot of things to choose from, and I think that's one of the problems, but that's also one of the most neat things with Joomla, that there is a lot of things to choose from. And then you can change the component or the extension you're using to something else that fits your needs better when your needs change. There are also a lot of bridges. Do you know what a bridge is? Yeah? A bridge is something that is like a module or something you put on your website that could be integrated with, for example, MailChimp. So you don't have MailChimp installed in your Joomla site as you should have with like RS mailing. It's an extended version of getting the information from the ones who want to subscribe to your newsletters in your Joomla, in your form, and then goes directly into MailChimp's database, and all things are handling over there. That's a bridge.
I'm
And then you
using
have,
MailChimp.
you do. Okay. Are you good?
I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
And it's basically completely isolated because it's a club. My managers don't want people to be able to add themselves to the email list. So there's no way to,
So
I
it's
have to
kind-
put them in.
So you have a need for having Joomla separate from your mailing list. You don't have any integration
I have
going
no
on, so you don't
integration.
have
Well,
that
I
need.
tried to get them to let me integrate it because MailChimp will give you a nice little API so you can
Yeah.
put a box up and have people sign up. I don't know why they.
So you can have a download of a MailChimp form that's already integrated with the API, so you can put that on your website and put that
And
information
then they
into
can just
MailChimp.
sign in
Yeah.
and make it look like the website.
How many of you are using a Joomla extension for mailing and emailing? Okay, so like 7, 10. And how many of you are using a totally different email marketing tool to send out your emails and marketing? Oh, even more. That's interesting. I think that I'm kind of lazy. I don't want to do things over and over again. So one of my things when I use Joomla and I use the extensions for Joomla is that I want to integrate them. I just want to put them once in my website, and then I want to like integrate that into the email, so I don't have to do it twice. I don't want to upload an image to the Joomla Media Manager and then upload an image to my newsletter service. It might be that I have to pay for that image twice instead of once. So it could be an economical question as well. So that's my issue with that, because I think that that is good. And some of our clients that we work on when we do custom work is that they have maybe an event calendar. Maybe they have most read things. Maybe they have white papers newly added to their system, and they want this to be automatically. They want that to be sent out maybe once a week or maybe once a month to a target group that they have that signed up for this newsletter. And that means that you put that newsletter and you put it into the modules, and then you make an automatic mailing sending out at 4 o'clock every Wednesday afternoon, if that's the right time for you to deliver your message to that target group. And that means that you're smart with your time that you invest in email marketing. Usually that's the big issue when we talk a lot about email marketing. It's like, I don't have the time to do that extra effort. I don't want to, it cramps me up when I'm going to write this. So I do that maybe next week, and maybe next week gets to maybe next month. And then that people that signed up on your sign-up form is not receiving any information about you at all. And you should know that the people that sign up for your email marketing sign-up forms, they are most likely to interact with you within the coming days if you are sending them something. If you are waiting a whole month, they have no clue that they sign up for you guys. So think about that. That's really, really important. And it takes maybe a new person that comes to your website to sign up. They might have to be reminded about you maybe 7 times before they actually come to you and say, okay, you seem to know something about this. You seem to be an expert in your field, and you have a service that I would like to have. Can you please arrange a meeting with me? It takes maybe 7 times. So if you want to have a bigger turnover and getting more clients and having them sign up to the form, but then they have done their deal then. They have given them an interest point. So now you have to be able to deliver the message they are looking for. And do that. If you do that once a week for 7 weeks, maybe you have a new client within 10 weeks. If you do that once a month, it maybe takes you 7 months, and you can calculate the bottom line is different, right? But that makes that sure that you have to make it available for you and to do the best work you can do within that time frame. If you are thinking that it takes you time to do newsletters, think about someone is waiting for that. It's a kind of a delivery. It's like doing a website and having a time frame for that. Having a time frame for your newsletters is equal the same in importance. So a lot of these are really good for the web services. Something I've seen that I've been reacting to when I talked about requirements for the extensions for Joomla for newsletter is that it's not a good way of signing up. Usually in Joomla components for extensions like newsletters and emails, you go in and sign up, and then you sign up and you start getting your deliverables, like your emails. But that's not good enough for all countries, but a lot of countries mean you have to actually send out an email to that inbox and say, someone signed up. It might be you. If it were someone else signing you up, you don't do anything about this. But if you did, then you get to be good.
Right, in the US there's a can-spam law, and it's actually a legal requirement to find a fine.
Yeah.
It's usually $10,000 for offense.
5,000.
I thought it was 10.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a lot of money. So that's the
Yeah,
requirement.
It's still a lot of money either way.
Yeah, it's a lot of money if you're not following the regulations. So that means that can be a good output from this meeting, this session, that if the extension developers for newsletters and emails should actually comply to that law.
Yeah, and one of the things you have to have is you have to have an unsubscribe link in the newsletter that actually works. There's a lot
Right.
of shadier organizations you get spam from.
Yep.
Oh, they have an unsubscribe link, all right. You click it and there's no more domain or there's no active thing that does anything.
So an active working unsubscribe link in the bottom of your email is important to be able to sign off. Yeah. And make it easy for the clients to sign in and to sign off. Don't make it a hassle. Don't make them log into your website and configure everything and say, I want to opt out from every single list. Make it easy for them. That's something I think that is really important that the newsletter components is supporting. So why do we do email marketing and newsletters? Why do we send them out? Why do you send them?
Send a reminder
Send a reminder, okay.
or post a new product. Remind
Yeah. Anyone else?
We're informed members,
Inform members.
and
Yeah.
we run it once a week.
Once a week, inform members. And
To build interest in a service.
yeah, build interest in the service.
Upcoming meetings.
Upcoming meetings,
Monthly purchase specials.
monthly purchase presents. Okay. Yeah. So that's something that you actually do for creating awareness of your brand, or sell more of your service, or nurture the leads, or nurture the customers that you have, so they can still continue buying your services or your products. Yeah. Do you buy newsletter lists, subscriber lists? No. I think it's illegal in a lot of countries that you should send to people that don't want to have it. And that could actually make your brand destroyed if you do that.
There's a brand reputation that's becoming quite important in the US especially. And there's actually companies that will rate you based on things like that. So it's really a bad idea.
Yeah. So that's a big no-no. Don't buy email send list or subscriber list from someone else. If you do sell your list to a third party, or if you share that to a third party, it means maybe you are a magazine and you have a poll or a contest on your site that you get paid for by an advertiser to have. The advertiser would like to have those people in your poll or in your questionnaire. If you do that, it's the same thing. If that's going to be sending out emails later on to them, advertising to them, that is also something you have to inform them when they go and do the questionnaire or the poll. Yeah.
I just purchased my local Chamber of Commerce member list, but I'm really involved with the chamber. I'm on their board, and I think I can use them. It's an Excel spreadsheet, so it's easy enough to create. Before, I'd just been haphazardly including my colleagues that I know really well there in my newsletter, but I'm trying to be more organized. So that's a chunk of 600, can be part of a little more regular, organized. I have to organize.
Yeah. The problem with that one is that you're going to have a lot of people reporting you for spam.
Right. So legally,
Yeah.
what you have to do is you have to send out a first message saying, you can even be honest and say, I've acquired the list in the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
If you would like not to receive my email, click the link at the bottom and unsubscribe.
Okay.
Then you're okay.
All right.
Or you can do exactly the opposite. You can say,
Yeah.
I got this, and if you want to subscribe to my newsletter, click here
Okay. All right.
and sign up.
I prefer to go.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing if you have a store and you have a registration form and people buy something from you. You have a checkbox in the end of the form that you buy something, and it's always checked in. I will receive monthly newsletter updates from your company thing, and I accept. But that is also something in different countries that is not that's not legal to be checked in to start with. So you have to figure out where is your target market and how does your regulation in your country work. Because as you said before, it could be costly, but it can also be a brand issue that it's not good for you.
Is there a difference between these days emails and newsletters? I mean, it seems like it's kind of blended, it's blurred.
Yeah. What is the difference between newsletters and emails? What do you think? What is your opinion?
Less and less these days.
Styling?
Styling?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
the newsletter usually looks like you. An email just looks like an email.
Well,
So-
newsletter looks like a website page a lot
Right.
of times because of the ability for enhanced email versus 15 years ago.
Yeah. So what do you think is the best way of communicating with your clients, with HTML or non-HTML?
With
HTML.
HTML with like images,
Yeah,
looks
more
nice.
styling.
You should have both.
No choice.
You should have both. Most of the components, at least for
Oh,
Joomla,
well, yeah.
have the ability to generate both. Because some corporate, especially corporate networks, strip it. Right? So literally, if you don't have a version that's text, it looks like complete garbage, and it's illegible.
And it blocks you.
When it's stripped.
Or if people are using mobile phones and they're paying for the time it takes for downloading your email, if that's very heavy with a lot of graphics, they would like to maybe then say, I want to have a text one instead next time, so I don't have to pay for it.
That's actually really interesting. Even on a desktop, because we work kind of around the world as well, and I noticed that some of our users will have that issue where they're paying for bandwidth, and here we're used to not at all. So we don't even think about it when we build those, stack them full of images and this and that, and just kind of don't have it in our head that some people will experience that.
I've seen terrible examples where you have really, really big images that you're sending out, and in your email, you just resized it for visual, not for the downloading thing. And it looks great, but it's like renders like this. If you're on a mobile phone, it's like, shit, I can't do this. I just have to close it off because it's going to cost me too much.
And
Sorry.
for those people who are actually making newsletters, if you're on a Mac, if you're lucky enough to be on a Mac, there's a little utility that will shrink your image sizes without losing any quality.
Mhm.
It's called Image Optime. It's from like Croatia or something like that. It basically all it does is it
Image
rearrange-
Optime.
Image Optime. All it does is it takes your image, whatever it is, and you put it through the processor, a PNG, GIF files, JPEGs, and it reorganizes the compression in the file. But it's a standard compression thing. So every browser, every mobile phone, everything just works. And even if you zoom in at like 60-100%, it still looks per pixel per pixel identical. You will save anywhere between 2% to 60% of your image size.
Yeah.
So if you have an image-related newsletter, it's a big difference.
That's good. That's a really good advice. It's back to the. Yeah.
Also, I think you need to consider what's your message. You know, sometimes we get an email in our inbox. If it's formatted in a newsletter, you don't have time, you're going to blow it off, you're going to delete it. If it's a direct, specific message, even sometimes a receipt, or if you bought a ticket and you get that, you know, if it's a direct email, I think sometimes people are more apt to sort of read that. That's my opinion.
That's something that if you don't have just one call to action, because it's the same thing, you have a website, you have a call to action in some kind of way. You want the people that comes to your site maybe register for signing up for a newsletter or buying a product, downloading a white paper or something. The same thing with newsletter. Why are you sending that out? What is your purpose with it? Is it to have like an invitation for an event? Maybe you should not tell them about the most downloaded white papers. Maybe you should not tell them about the previous event, because this is an invitation. I just want you to grab this and sign up. But maybe there is monthly newsletter coming out, more like telling them what happened in the industry. Like that's something timely to look at. It's a lot of links going places. That's more informative, but it's no call to action. So what is your target group waiting for? And if they sign up, they have to know what they are going to expect. When are they going to have it, and how it's going to be, and what kind of information are you sending out to them? It makes it so much better for them, and you're going to have so much more clickables and so much more opens frequency. Yeah.
Avoid selling something on every email. The worst, I've done a lot of campaigns for different clients, and the unsubscribe percentages will just go through the roof in comparison for those companies where they're aside from every time you're sending something out, you're trying to sell them something, the best method, if I were to advise people, if I was allowed to advise people, would be correct, is send out something that they don't know that is useful to them. That doesn't take you much time to come up with. So tips, obviously, how to do something better. Even if it's, like, say you're a construction business, so talk something about, how to save energy. Sounds stupid, but they, even though you may be trying to sell them, change your windows or change your roof, whatever, don't sell them every time, because what happens is if you have a tendency to sell, your unsubscribe percentages will go up, and you've just lost that client. So you don't want to unsubscribe. You want to keep them under like 1-2% unsubscribe.
Usually it's the same thing with Facebook. If you do things like inform people, like 9 or 10 postages, it's the same thing, and just one of selling. It's the same thing with like email marketing in my perspective when I've seen the statistics, is that give a lot of your expertise, because then you build your reputation that you are like a leader in your industry. They really like what you're selling because of what you actually learned them that you know about. So it's really good.
So posting campaign offer 50, 100 email. Which one best? Joomla extension,
It depends what kind of thing you want the email list to do, I think. If you have a need for statistics, like if people click on links and you really like it, oh, this is something, I want to have a list of everyone clicking on the link to know more about that product. Then I want to combine that list and send that to the telemarketing department, because now they're going to sell to them, because they know that they are showing their interest to them, so they're not going to have like cold calls, they're going to have more warm calls to them. That could be a feature that you're looking for that particular list. If that's the case, then you have to find a newsletter component for Joomla that actually supports that. So it depends what kind, or if you have a huge list and you're going to send that out, and the newsletter component is not having a feature that you can suppress how many newsletters going to be sent out every hour, because your web host just allows maybe 500 newsletters go out every hour. Then you have to have an extension that actually says, okay, send 500, wait 60 minutes.
Yeah, and
Send 500.
And most hosts will not tell you what that limit is.
Yeah.
I run a web hosting company, and I tell my customers, but I countless companies out there, they just will not send out your mail, and you don't know.
Yeah. So what is the solution for that kind of problem?
Ask your web hosting company.
Yeah.
SiteGround, I asked SiteGround, and they said 400 every hour.
Yeah.
So I think they get that question a lot. Hopefully it was the truth.
I think you want that to be happening, or else you won't be able to send emails out. If everybody is allowed to send however many they want, everything's going to be blacklisted, no one's going to send it.
And you have to think about something. If you have 400 in your email list going out every hour, if you have someone asking for, I lost my password, and got an email from that, that is also including the 400. So you have to be sure and have margin for that. So that's really important.
Yeah, and from an email reputation server thing, you also want to pick a nice newsletter component that has the ability to stagger them over time. So with like a delay, like I'll send 50, wait for a few minutes, 50, because there's new anti-spam technologies that are in place to stop this kind of thing. So you're kind of constantly battling the good guys, which are trying to help us to reduce spam. At the same time, they're still trying to get you back.
Yeah. Totally true. We talked about this when is the email going out and when is the newsletter going out, and they could be different. I was looking through the emails, things that are on the JED, and I found something that was really neat when one of my clients asked for, how can we deal with transaction emails? And I was like, okay, transaction emails, what do you want to do with them? And he's like, yeah, I know they're in the language file, you can change your text there and everything, but if I want to go in and change them more often, I don't want to do that in the text file, in the language file. I want to do that in the admin of Joomla. And change the, hi, thank you for subscribing to our site. This is your password, this is your username. Because if you have members, maybe you don't have users, right? And sometimes you would like to have extra information going into that kind of email. And maybe you want to have that looking good. Maybe you want to have that in HTML. There is extensions for that, so you can have them like into a special template. You can add maybe what information you need to have. So if you have, maybe you have a new sign up, someone registered to your site, and they get the information there. Here's your password, here's your login, and welcome to our site, and here's the most popular things, or this is how you start using our website. It's a membership site. That could be nice to have different linkages. So transaction email is something I think that Joomla is, we are like used to other text emails, but they don't have to be that way.
So can Joomla do, like if you are raising money or you need donation, it will allow you to put a link or when you send that email to the person if you want to donate something to you, you can do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you do that?
If you want to have like a donate button, it's just an image and it's a link.
Oh, no,
So-
I mean, like, have Joomla send out emails.
Joomla itself wouldn't.
No, it's with extensions.
So what's the good extensions?
It depends what kind of requirements that you have. So what are you looking for in a newsletter component?
Okay, so let's say you have a networking group and there's 60 members in your networking group and you meet and then you want to send out a newsletter.
Yeah. And how do you want to follow up on that newsletter in some kind of way?
Follow up.
Like see how many opened it up, how many
Yeah, that
clicked
would
on
be
the
nice.
links, that you can see that that particular person clicked on a link.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
nice.
Okay, so AC mailing would do that, RS mail would do that, McGew would do that. You have a lot of different extensions that actually do that. That's kind of just the basics of what a newsletter components in Joomla does. So you can kind of pick and choose.
And then it also posted on your website, the newsletter?
Yeah.
AC
Usually
mailing.
you have, like AC mailing, have a direct link on how that looks like. So in an email, you can have like, look, that if this is not looking good, or do you want to look at this on our website, you can click on it. And you can have an archive on your website as well for other people to see afterwards, if you would
So
like
it's
to.
like article list.
It's called AC Mail.
AC mailing, I think that a lot of the different extensions that have, Meteor has that, RS Mail has that.
Like how will you, if you get the software estimating, you log in on your website, then how you combine it with the existing email you already created, you are posting from here?
You create your email in AC mailing, and you create your list in AC mailing in that case.
Hello there.
And then it's a total program in Joomla. You install it in Joomla, and then you have that under components. You can find the newsletter component there, and you have list management. You create your email there, and you have statistics, and you can also take care of like different setting lists if you want to. So it's a complete like program in Joomla. Yeah.
When you do this, set up one of these mailing lists, does it go out like a blind CC so she can't see that it's going to him and her?
I don't think that any of the newsletters
Oh,
components
yeah.
in Joomla does that. They send out one email to every single one. Otherwise, they are going to go into the spam filters immediately
Right.
if that is the case. So everyone is creating a single, and a lot of Joomla components for newsletter have tags. So you can say, hi, Steve, thank you for signing up to our blah, blah, blah. This is the, and you can have quotes like this. You just bought this product from like Virgimart. So you can have all these tags. It depends what kind of need you have, but that's really personalizing it. Yeah.
But some of the components out there are also very good at integrations. So like say you have a shopping cart, you can integrate, from the newsletter, something from the shopping cart very easily. I know like Easy Shopping Instantly will do that, for example, but there's a lot more integration than that's just that there.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, it's ACY.
ACY, sorry. To have this kind of thing that we talked about, that people, when they sign up, would like to have a newsletter from you kind of immediately. That's why they sign up. You can have something on registration. So when people sign up to your list, they might get like, hi, thank you for subscribing. This is our archive of different newsletters we sent out already, or things like that. You can like do a really good newsletter for them the first time. And they feel like, okay, it's working, I got it. This is something I want to keep on subscribing to.
So you're saying when somebody subscribes to your website, then the ACY mail component, you can set up an email that goes out to them.
I can't say that that does it because I don't have too much knowledge in exactly every single requirement they have, but I know there is extensions for Joomla that does that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to go into the feature set of all the like the extensions for newsletter. You can see if they have comparisons lists of most of them, and you can see that this is working or this is not working, or if you want to have that, that's more advanced. But a lot of it could be different triggers. So you can use it for like on register, on purchase, on unsubscribe. Like thank you for unsubscribing is like it's something I should do. Like I should just have some like text on my website coming up say thank you for unsubscribing. I wouldn't send them an even mail. Yeah, exactly. But there is like it's like in Joomla. It's like on and off all the time. And it's the same thing in all these extensions for Joomla. When it comes to newsletter, on and off, what is going to happen?
Some reason to ask when you unsubscribe, why did you unsubscribe? And that gives you vital information. Maybe you're missing out on something that they were looking for, and if you change your slant, you won't lose those people.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you have an unsubscribe link, you can come to a website page and say,
why?
Sorry to see you go. Can we please have your opinion on why we're losing you? What kind of needs do we don't meet anymore? It could be that they were looking for your service and they already got a service provider somewhere else and they don't want to be on your list. So then you know it's not that you're lacking in your information. It's kind of good.
Or sometimes people change email addresses and they're already in the database and need another more updated email address, so they're not actually truly leaving you. They're just don't want to email.
Yeah, that's true. So, to wrap this up the last 10 minutes, what is it that you really think that you are missing out on? Because if you're missing out on something and you've been looking for an extension that is not working, you can't find the right one for you. I bet in this room, a lot of people have experienced that, like you said, I want to have this. What kind of extension is supporting that one? Maybe someone here can respond to that question and give you tips and hints on where to look for it. So it might be there already, even if we have it on our wish list. But it can also be things like, okay, if we unsubscribe, we want to come to this unsubscribe page where there's a poll. Why? Is there any extension that you know about right now that support that feature? Okay. So then you have a response immediately for them. Yeah.
I have a question. I don't know if there is anyone here that do that already. Sometimes people email us and ask us the government or Congress tell us that what we want to achieve in a specific field. But sometimes it's a thing that have 14 pages. Either they limit how many characters we have to put in. Remember when you click on the box, there is a box you have to put all your messages. But if anyone can use that box and send it to a PDF file, does any of you do that already? Like if you have a PDF file on your memory stick and you can use it and I know you can do that if you have the mailing address. You can send it attached, but sometimes they do not allow you to send it.
Are you looking for a form where they can go in and register on the form, and when you say send, it actually gets an email with attachment of a PDF? Is that what you're looking for?
I have that form. How do you use that form? How can you send a PDF file through that form?
To a client?
I believe that the some AC mailing does can allow an attachment to a newsletter, but I could be wrong on this. But the problem is, as you hinted, a lot of servers, a lot of the web hosters, even a lot of corporations will not allow even PDFs. So that may be an effort of having a wish list that actually ends up not being usable because a lot of corporate networks just don't allow attachments because it's a risk for viruses, it's a risk for a bunch of other factors. So it might be something you want to do, but it might, when you actually implement it, you might find that only like 10% of people actually receive the newsletter because the other 90% of your clientele doesn't get the email. So be careful.
We usually just upload the PDF as like an image on your website and just have a link posted on your website and just embed that into the email.
There is another solution that's similar to that. There is somebody who made, I think, a brilliant little component for Joomla. It might not be a component, it might be a module, whatever. And it literally takes a PDF and presents it as a document that you can see without downloading it right on Joomla. If that makes any sense. So
like a PDF viewer in
Joomla.
Joomla.
It's kind of an Adobe reader.
Yeah.
But what it does is actually uses Google, but there's a service from Google that does this, and it kind of integrates and right there. I've actually used it for a menu for a client because my client can't even figure out Joomla. So what they do is they make their menu in Word, and I've managed to teach them how to turn it into a PDF file. And then from there, I got a little Windows software that automatically sent that one file name, or actually any file in this folder, to a specific location on the FTP server. They of course don't know passwords or anything like that, so it's automated. And so now, every week, they are able to automate the quote-unquote new menu for the restaurant by only knowing Word. And using that plugin that visualizes the PDF file.
That's nice. And you can also use like Dropbox or something and upload your attachments there and just link them in your email. That's a good one as well, or like a file server in some kind of.
Well, the advantage also of just emailing the link is that if you need to correct something in that PDF, you just upload your document to one place, and everybody's link still works to the updated file. As soon as somebody tells you, hey, you got the date wrong, you got the time wrong.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from an SEO standpoint, you would put the if you
I do.
Anyone else like wish list? What are you looking for that you can't find? Yeah?
I haven't looked.
But I like AC mailing. I haven't bought a license for it because I need to put it on about 25 websites that are all membership websites, and they don't have a licensing for that. They don't have a multi-site license. You have to buy a license for each one, and that gets way overpriced for each of those websites.
Yeah, they have an enterprise license.
They have an enterprise license now?
For 5 or more sites, I think is what it is.
$500 as well.
Well, that would be worth it for 25 sites, but I couldn't find that before. Last time I checked, they didn't have anything like that. Is that recent?
There was a Christmas special last year. Yeah. I hope they send it out again this year if anyone wants to remember it.
So we're looking for the Christmas present. That's nice. So if they're watching this, they know what to do, right? Okay?
You know, I find myself still using Google Groups and Yahoo Groups for various clients.
Yeah.
And it's just so easy. And people are so familiar with Google and Yahoo. And this goes back to the e-groups days when before Yahoo bought e-groups. And so I have a bunch of those that people don't want to let go of. So it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah. What do you think about the interface in the when you do all the emails? Is it easy to use? Is there anything else that could be better?
Always more templates than
Okay. It's kind of different. Like I'm doing Meteor and we developed a drag and drop interface, so you can actually take a module and drag and drop it. You take an image and drag and drop it. You take a text field and drag and drop it. You take heading and drag and drop it, and that means there is no design whatsoever in your email when you're creating it. So you're not doing inline HTML. You don't have a problem when you're rendering it, because when it goes out, it actually starts rendering it from your template.
Oh, on that note, you just remind me of something.
Yeah.
There is a service that just started recently, which actually, I think I saw it from inside this email, maybe I'm losing my mind, where you can actually evaluate how much chance will your email have of actually arriving at the other end. Because like all these anti-spam techniques, whatever, if you do certain things without knowing any better, just you do your thing because you were taught a certain way. I think it was an ACI, maybe I'm losing my mind, that there's a button you can check and it will rate your email.
That's in a lot of extensions, like spam can, or it's like they rate your spam score.
Right,
and
this is integrated inside the thing.
But that's a lot.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it a couple times and I was shocked, like, I got a 3. What do you mean I got a 3? and then I realized, oh, okay, that's easy to fix. And then there's some things you're not going to get a perfect score. There's certain situations where you're going to get like a 9.5 or 9, and that's still really good, like much better than 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
You touched on this, and I'm sorry because I came in late. But what if a client's running like constant contact?
Yep.
Can they like integrate that into, like, is there an import or something?
You can make an export from constant contact if you want to like switch to
Right.
Joomla. Yeah, you can make an export of your subscriber field, and then you import that into the Joomla.
Into the ACY mailing.
Yeah. Or the chosen extension.
So
that you choose.
ACY mailing has that
Yeah.
ability.
Yeah, and the same thing, almost all the extensions that are in mailing, it's like if you use one of them and you're not satisfied, you install the other one, that it will say, oh, I see that you have this installed, and you have a lot of bunch of stuff over here. Do you want me to import that? And that's imported. So it's really easy to switch between them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it sounded like there was an interface, a branching kind of option as well, right? That
Yeah, you
Joomla
can-
interface with constant content.
You can have a sign-up form in Joomla to make people come into
Right, I know that. I know
So
that.
that's not it's like more a sign-up form. It's not that you can drag and drop like images, or you can integrate and say that send an article, or this like the popular most article, that kind of module, put that into newsletter in that kind of service, because they are not integrated that way.
Right.
But you can do something, and that's something that a lot of people are missing out on, is that you can have RSS feeds from your website. And you can go into a web service and pick and choose a module there and say, please render all the RSS feeds from that feed. And then that's kind of an integration field in that kind of way. So that's a good thing as well. Yeah?
I think it's worth saying, just also with Joomla or on a third-party platform, kind of depends how important your emails are. If you're on a shared server, you share an IP address, and those IP addresses can get blacklisted for spam if other people on the same server are spamming. So if you have a really valuable email list, it is worth considering, staying with constant contact, or using, I think on the slide you mentioned there's also other SMTP providers. You send through them using your Joomla program, and that way they take care of whitelisting their IPs with all of the different providers and knowing how many emails per hour certain providers will accept.
Right, and it's more than just that. It's more nowadays than just whitelisting or blasting. It becomes a reputation thing. So they'll let your email in, but it won't go to their spam box, which doesn't really do you much good unless you manage to get all your users to check their spam boxes every day, like that. So there actually are services beyond any of this that can work with Joomla components that you pay a monthly fee to, that will actually do the necessary brand reputation, so that you don't go beyond the IP things to make sure that it arrives in that person's inbox.
MailChimp have released their new service, which means that you can send things from Joomla, all your transaction emails and all the emails that comes from your extensions like shopping carts, or if it's from newsletters, and then it goes into their service, and they are the ones sending it out. And you can have information about statistics and everything that you can't have today from transaction emails. You can actually see if that's open or used or not in their service. And there is an extension plugin for Joomla that makes that happen. And you can say that, okay, I buy a service that I send out 100,000 emails a month through the service, and if it goes beyond that, that actually kicks in that you go to the fallback, which is this, the Joomla that you are on.
Yeah, I have to say I'm not a fan of any of these constant contact MailChimp things for a lot of reasons. It hurts your SEO. You're basically branding. From a branding standpoint, marketing standpoint, it's a horrible idea because the person who sees the MailChimp icon, they'll remember that when you're in service sometimes. Like, it's just like for the same reason you shouldn't have an email address. This is, as a consultant to small businesses, it's an insane thing that people do all the time. They'll be a plumber, and they have a domain like plumbingsf.com, and they will have an email address that they send out, joetheplumber@gmail.com. You have a website, use your brand. And so the other thing is, the MailChimp have a cost to it, and small businesses especially, maybe everybody in the audience is a medium-sized business or a high-end business, so it doesn't matter, but if you're a small business, that extra $45 or $15 or $20 a month starts to add up, and then usually these services are, the more emails you're sending, the more money it is, right? But if you go with a good quality extension, it's a one-time fee with, usually a year's worth of upgrade or whatever support, but still, it's a one-time fee, which is a lot less money.
Well, the MailChimp's free in 1,000 contacts.
Right.
And then they have their new Mandrill
Mandrill,
split off, which is a white label service, so you can do all your branding whatever you want. That's got a price to it, but we got into this topic anyway. I was gonna ask why even use a Joomla. Don't stone me. Why even use a Joomla extension? Why not just maybe do an API for your website? I think there's I haven't used a lot of the mail extensions, but I think I would assume that MailChimp's probably got way more capability than a lot of extensions out there.
He says no.
I disagree with your point of view of this, just to be the devil's advocate. When you have a small business client who doesn't necessarily know what they're doing and is going to be sending out those emails, you have more likelihood of getting your IP issues and whatever that you're talking about that you're going to have to subscribe to a service for anyway to manage your reputation.
Well, actually, that wasn't really recommended for small business.
So you're actually going to have more problems using an in-house extension, if that person doesn't know what they're doing for a small business versus getting those 2,000 contacts for free. And if anything goes wrong and with MailChimp as a service per se, plus you get a very big feature set. The downside, of course, is the integration with your other Joomla components, which is where like something like AC mailing comes in stronger because you can segment your purchases on your shopping cart, and that's where those strong suits come in. So you don't necessarily need any of those features. I tend to like MailChimp or some of the other third purposes better.
To talk to that point though, if the person's doing your website, of course this is assuming that you're not doing it yourself and you don't know, but assuming you're hiring somebody or getting the help of somebody in the community, it's once it's set up that you have everything you need inside something like AC mailing or something the other ones out there. So you can even you can be taught or you can learn, there's a button. Please see how my email is doing in terms of deliverability. Sorry. So once it's set up, it doesn't, at least in my experience, it doesn't break magically. It just works. So once it's set up, then you don't have those issues that you're referring to. I'm only speaking from, I've been doing this about 20 years in terms of helping small businesses, 10 years for web, and I've been using Joomla since the beginning. And my customers, once they are set up, then I teach them. I take the time or charge them to show them, and then it just works, and they don't have problems.
Well, I guess that's the key is there needs to be an education aspect because it's not necessarily set up, it's how the user is using the system, whether they're properly.
But the same thing can be true of MailChimp. I've seen people do crazy things with MailChimp that MailChimp can't figure out.
Okay. Last question.
I have a question for you. Do you know what problem you're trying to code about time and what you think is Sky?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
The part of the single article.
Oh, it's called can-spam at.
Scan?
And spam.
Okay, I would like to thank all of you for contributing so much to this discussion. I really think this is a big topic, and there is a lot of ways to solve the issues that we have in different ways, and all the needs are totally different, and a lot of requirements. And I hope you have good tips and hints from other people on where to go next for finding your extension or your web service or your need. Okay, great, thank you.